Is Lotus Field broken in Pioneer, or is this just another thing you can do in the format? Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for a rare Pioneer video. And before I get started with this one, I have to make a confession. This is actually my second league that I have played with Lotus Field because I made a very embarrassing mistake. When I first read this card, and I'm going to go to a different screen so you can see how this happened, part of this card was in the blind spot from my microphone. And if you take a look at how this looks when you zoom in, oh, I got a different art this time. Okay. Well, when I first looked at this, when I borrowed this for the original league, I thought this read, as long as it's your turn, this spell costs 2 colorless, 2 blue to cast. And less to cast was overhanging on the previous line in a little blind spot that exists because of my microphone when it's at certain heights. And so I played an entire Pioneer League thinking that this cost 4 mana and was kind of a garbage card. And I realized my mistake in round 5 and decided that I owed my good friend Dr. Bill, who sponsored this league, a better league than that. So if you are in my Discord in any capacity, I'm going to give you access to the original league. You can get in there by, being a YouTube member, pledging on Patreon, or subbing to me on Twitch. You can have the original league. There's still some great technical information in there, but the play quality is lower than what I strive for on this channel. All right, back to the deck tech proper. Our goal for the day is to use Strict Proctor or Discontinuity to cheat the downside on Lotus Field and turn it into a recurable Black Lotus on a stick, which is a little bit overpowered. The idea with Discontinuity is with Lotus Field's trigger on the stack, you end your own turn, which removes anything that's on the stack from the stack. And that means that you get to keep your land around. Note that this can also be used as a bit of a cheeky counterspell on your turn if something really bad is happening. This can just be a 4-mana hard counterspell end the turn. And once we have our Lotus Field, or maybe multiple Lotus Fields even, we're going to untap them with Teferi Hero of Dominaria and just continue to draw cards while generating mana and fuel that mana into some very powerful effects. Let's take a look at the whole deck list here. Now, today's video is sponsored by both moxfield.com as well as Cool Stuff Inc. And remember, if you need paper magic cards, use promo code ThrabenU at checkout at Cool Stuff Inc. to save 5%. So, conceptually speaking, when I played my first league with this deck list, I thought that it was a control deck because you have these planeswalkers like the Wandering Emperor and hero like Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, and now I'm not really sure that's true anymore. I think I was trying to play it too much like a control deck, when in reality, this is closer to a combo deck that just happens to have some board wipes in it. You are looking to assemble this combo and then quickly spiral the game out of control. And I thought it was a control deck, and I tried to play it like a control deck for a long time. But the controlling elements that are in this deck are relatively weak. And you're really looking to wipe the board, clear out your opponent's first couple of turns of progress, and then just draw cards until you find something that wins you the game. I am pretty happy with this deck list overall. It comes from Woo Control on Twitter, who has been doing relatively well with it and also has a sideboard guide available via Patreon if that's something that you're into. And I like most of the slots except for Finale of Revelation, which I don't think I cast in either of the 2 leagues I played. Minor spoilers, but this was the first card I sideboarded out every time, and I would probably be looking to cut this card if I were to play a 3rd league with this deck, which I'm not going to, but that's enough there. My favorite card from the sideboard was actually the Dragon Lord Dromoka. This was just really good. There's a lot of like red-white Pia and other aggressive decks in the format, and just sticking a 5/7 life linker that's uncounterable buys you so much time versus those decks. And when you can get to the point that you just discontinuity on your opponent's turn to end their turn, smack for 5, gain 5 life, end your turn, smack for 5 more damage, it's a really cool and really strong play pattern. And sometimes you just end up winning the turn with a couple of samurai that you make off of the Wandering Emperor, and that's totally fine too. With that being said, okay, one more thing I should mention. Memory Deluge is sort of doing this deck's dig through time impression, where this is your way to find your outs when you need a board wipe or otherwise find the missing piece of your combo. And the flashback is surprisingly castable once you are on one or more Lotus Fields. Like, that's just a thing that is perfectly okay to do. All right, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the real league here. Okay, there's a Jagantha Companion over there, which could mean like a mono red or red white Pia deck. It could also mean the Rakdos deck. My hand just has kind of too much mana here. I don't think I'm excited about this one. So this is 2 lands with multiple foretell cards. If this is the red-white deck, the Doomscar is very good. I am going to reluctantly keep this, I think. I'm going to keep the Discontinuity in case I do draw a Lotus Field, which would kind of pop this deck into good territory. All right, so it's probably the red-white Pia deck. This is going to be an aggressive red-white aggro deck. I am looking to resolve this card basically at all costs to make it to the second stage of the game. I am going to need another white source in order to do that. All right, second land drop. There is a Reckless Impulse. Chain to the Rocks is a dead card here. I mean, it can be used for 1 point of damage, and Lightning Strike is slow. That definitely could have been worse for me. All right, there's my other white mana. I guess I should save this for a turn. Let's still foretell this card. Because if I draw like my basic plans, I want to be able to do the backside of this card. All right, third land drop from my opponent. I'm hoping they play out another creature here. I can get a 2-for-1 with my board wipe. If not, I might just have to take the 1-for-1. Okay, sure. Like, I am at 10 already. This is an awkward spot for me. Because if I just tap out to kill this, my opponent can just resolve a Showdown of the Skalds, and it's super bad. But if I play the blue side of this so that I have blue mana this turn, I'm not guaranteed to be able to do this if they just play out more creatures. I'll play the backside of this so Showdown of the Skalds doesn't bury me. Okay. Fucking rewarded. I learned some things in that first league I played. I'll happily take the 2 here. I can play this as a land drop if I don't hit a different land drop. Did. I'm going to leave this up for another Showdown of the Skalds while holding up Behold the Multiverse, I think. Oh shit! Island. Fuck. Am I foretelling now? No, I'm holding up. Jawari Disruption. Alright, did one thing to look smart, then did one thing to look dumb. We'll say I was intentionally holding up Thespian Stage copying this white land. Reckless Impulse is resolving and is scary. Mono. Which gets played around Jawari Disruption. That puts me to 7. I am taking 6 damage. Yeah, that's just occurring. I'm dead to a gajillion different things right now. Get my second white mana so that I can board wipe. But I'm probably dead to this thing transforming a little bit later. Guess I play the blue side of this. I do, in theory, need blue, blue, blue. Alright, there's board wipe. Jawari Disruption doesn't counter Showdown of the Skalds. Doesn't counter most of the things that my opponent does. I am going to just foretell this and accept that I am dead such an incredibly huge portion of the time here. I think I've just got to risk it. Yeah, that would have gotten around Jawari Disruption anyway. Yeah, this is Pia, the namesake card of this deck, which is very good with these various things that send cards to exile. Bone Crusher Giant also is a problem. Wait, didn't they? Don't you just stop my face and have deterministic lethal, and there's nothing I can do about it? Yeah. My opponent realized that. But I am very dead, so that does not matter. With one more mana, I would have been able to Discontinuity on their upkeep. No, I guess they just Bone Crusher Giant me in response. Alright. So the sideboard is outdated. The sideboard guide is outdated for this matchup. I was doing Dragonlord Dramokas and Aether Gusts in my previous league, and then thinking about these. I think I went this out. Sensor's awkward. This is very easy to play around. I'll probably do it when I'm on the play, maybe not when I'm on the draw. I was going down a Discontinuity before a multiple. I think I got rid of Behold the Multiverse. And then when I'm on the draw, I'll change these a little bit and play the Denrix. This, I think Sensor's just not good enough when my opponent's on the play. This hand can play a turn 2 Strict Proctor as a blocker into maybe a Memory Deluge. I'm going to try to find something that is objectively just more powerful. That is a lot of Aether Gust. All right. This is not like a super strong hand. It's not that bad, but it really needs a little something more to be put over the top. I'm going to hold up Censor this turn rather than play out Strict Proctor. Second land. Swift Spear occurs. I think I'll just take the pressure off of myself here. And just get rid of that. I really need another land here. Soul Scour Mage is fine. That is not another land. I'm going to take a risky play here and try to cycle this for the land drop. Never punished. And I'll play out the Strict Proctor. It is throwing it into things like Lightning Strike that can kill it. I will take the block. My creature dies sometimes due to this. Yeah, so there's a stomp on my creature, making it small. That's fine. So I have an Aether Gust that I can use to kind of counter Bone Crusher Giant. It's a little awkward putting that back on top because my opponent gets, like, value. Alright, how do I want to do this? I could counter this. I could just protect my life total by putting this thing back on top of their library. Or I can just let this go. I think I need to protect my life total here. Ia is spooky. I think I am just using a removal spell here. I think on the Soul Scour Mage it can get pretty silly with chains of cards later. I think I'm more scared of that than I am the 2/2. Alright, I eat 2 damage. Am I always Aether Gusting Pia? No, I think sometimes I play the Wandering Emperor. I'm going to take this too. Like, I can play the Wandering Emperor and then Aether Gust a resolved Pia. I am okay doing this here. And we'll go ahead and minus this for some life. If my opponent wants to Bone Crusher stomp my Wandering Emperor, they don't get to play their Pia, which is kind of a huge deal. Pia and Alpine Moon have a 1-turn cycle where my opponent can play them. A Ren's Resolve. Unexpected. Wow, my opponent was trying to hit lands. There's a Lotus Field. which is cool for me. I'm thinking about this Wandering Emperor. My opponent can always kill it with Stomp if they want to. Unless I commit to Aether Gusting that. Or sorry, that's regular Bone Crusher Giant now, it's not Stomp. If I hold up Aether Gust, am I just good? Yeah, I think if I hold up Aether Gust, I'm just good. I'm going to try to keep this Planeswalker around. I'm going to Lotus Field. Sacrificing 2 lands. I'm going to keep the Thespian stage. It'll be good later. It's not good now. Alright, the 3rd mana starts to present some interesting problems. This is and Planeswalker. This is and Planeswalker. Awkward for me. But we dodged the Showdown of the Scalds, which is nice. Fuck. That's really annoying. I just Aether Gust that so that my opponent has to attack this. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I was hoping they would be stuck on 2 lands, so I would basically Aether Gust whatever play came after Monastery Swiftspear, or like junk the Swiftspear, get to keep this alive while also having Teferi. But it didn't work out that way. Goodbye, Wandering Emperor. But like, my opponent not casting that Showdown of the Scalds is absolutely massive for me. Strict Proctor is a turn late. So, Teferi. We'll just Teferi plus here. Yes? I think yes. If I untap some Lotus Fields, I become a little bit worse at spreading my mana out. But my Teferi draw next turn is much stronger. I am in trouble if my opponent can kill this Teferi. Which they can. This Farewell would be really good as a draw. Yep. That'll work. This card should be pretty tough to beat. Not impossible. Like, Showdown of the Scalds and Pia, especially together, can do some gross things. So, did my opponent stack those wrong? Like, they could have stacked that the other way so that this got a counter. Yeah, they stacked those wrong. Showdown is spooky. Fuck, Chain to the Rocks. That's good. Alright. Can I wait a turn to cast Doomscar? And also get a Bone Crusher Giant out of it? And the backside of Kumano? I'm gonna hope so. Sebastian for 5. Put my opponent to 11. I go back to 18. Do a Strict Proctor. I don't think I suspend this. It telegraphs it. I do not want to telegraph it. So, notably, Chained to the Rocks can be countered by Strict Proctor if my opponent doesn't sequence their turn well. Alright, there's a Sacred Foundry. Alright, there's the Chain to the Rocks. And the Showdown of the Scalds is very good at increasing power here. So that targets Dragonlord Dramoka. My opponent has to pay extra. Notably, if I do end up casting a Farewell, this will do gross things. I think I just need to absorb damage here since I'm casting a board wipe. I'm going to block one of the ones with Prowess. Alright. My opponent will stomp my face for 1 more point of damage off a Prowess trigger, which is fine. I eat a lot of damage here. Ooh. I do get to destroy all creatures. There are just Bone Crusher Giants coming. I'm not safe. Alright. Showdown of the Scalds is gone. My opponent's creatures will still enter with +1/+1 counters. In my ideal world, they play 2 creatures this turn that I can just Doomscar again. Yep. Alright, cool. So we'll Doomscar. Guess I'll pick up a blue side of this. And this is fully just who top decks better at this point. My opponent's slightly ahead. If I can remove that Chained to the Rocks, this game's over. But I'm at 7. And that's Gigantha to hand as well. Wandering Emperor is very good. Still some guaranteed damage from Bone Crusher Giant. But I will take it here. So we play this. Exile that. Gain 2 life. Wait, is Bone Crusher Giant just spell? Not spell or ability? Must be. Where is that card? Yeah, target of a spell. Alright. Come on, top deck. Yeah, I can just end my opponent's turn. I'll do that in their upkeep. We'll just go ahead and plus this on nothing. Time Walk. Nice. Memory Deluge is reasonable. Let's cast that now. Yikes. How much is this to activate? 6? Ah, it's just 2 land drops. That's fine. Yeah. Yeah. This enters tapped. Minus make a chump blocker. Pass turn. Alright, I might be able to bring this one back. Chain to the Rocks is very good here. Gets rid of my Samurai token and my Wandering Emperor. Fuck. God. Needed to avoid that kind of value. That's a Pia. I don't know if you were supposed to play that out there. I kind of think you were supposed to wait till next turn and then you can guaranteed Sacred Foundry and play with fire for Thopters. Oh, forgot that has a mana ability. My face ignoring Wandering Emperor. Okay. I hope I can punish this. Oh. Post-combat? So, oh, I see. You're going to kill the Wandering Emperor. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that feels good. All artifacts, all creatures, all enchantments will leave graveyards because I have Memory Deluge. Get out. I get Dragon Lord Dramoka back. I will make a land drop. My opponent needs to do 4 direct damage to my face here, or I think I'm stable. I also just win, right? Like, I also just kill them with Hall of Storm Giants. Oh, did I just miss an onboard kill? No, because I had to Doomscour. Right. Yeah, the Dragon Lord Dramoka was not paid for with mana. Okay, cool. Okay, now that I'm on the draw, I don't really like Censor that much anymore. We're going to play 2 Denric. And maybe like a Discontinuity. It doesn't really help me in the early game. I could play like a Dovin's Veto to round things out. Or I could just keep 1 Censor. I'll play 1 Dovin's Veto. Alright, this is a fair hand. Turn 1 tapped Sparrows. Turn 2 probably foretell this, do a mini board wipe. Unexciting but keepable. I'm always going to be eating some amount of early damage from creatures. Farewell. Cool. Let's make my land drop and pass. I don't love the mana in this deck, but that might just be the mana caliber of the format, not necessarily the fault of any cards here. Alright. Suspend? I think I have to suspend. Or sorry, foretell. Alright. I will maybe shock myself with Hollowed Fountain next turn. A Ganjo as a removal spell is definitely relevant. Alright. You have more mana? Because if you don't have more mana, I feel pretty okay about this situation. Okay, you do have more mana. I think this is supposed to be the Alpine Moon over the Swift Spear since I suspended. Presumably this card. I mean, there's other options. Okay, they agree. And my Lotus Field eats it. Takes so much damage still. Ugh. I think this has to stay in my hand as a removal spell option. Which means shocking myself, which I don't love. But this clears most of the board. And then we'll just kind of see whether my opponent has something like Showdown of the Scalds. Yep. Is this land enter tapped? No, that's the double-sided one. Oh. Cool. My opponent's going to have 5 total mana next turn. So I can probably catch something with Jawari Disruption. Kind of want to suspend Doomscar and hold up Jawari Disruption, playing a Ganjo. I can just tap out for Doomscar next turn and hold up Memory Deluge. That does mean shocking myself. I navigate this in a way that doesn't shock myself. Maybe by playing Memory Deluge. Maybe by playing Memory Deluge. Alright. That's fine. Creatures are fine. Creatures get caught up in Doomscar or Farewell. Land drops, no big deal. Ren's Resolve happens. I don't really love playing against this deck on Magic Online. You have to individually highlight cards to tell when they can be played. Alright. So, this is a stomp going at me. I could just counter that to get use out of this, and then my opponent can't cast the backside of that. That better than casting Memory Deluge? Yep, I think so. Oop. I might unfortunately have to Doomscar the Soul Scour Mage anyway. Probably represents 5-ish damage next turn. Hallowed Fountains are rough. So if I don't Doomscar this creature, it's like double prowess over there. Assuming they can cast 1 from hand and 1 from Reckless Impulse. That's 4 more damage, 7 total damage. Alright. Ow. I think I just have to take the very expensive 1-for-1 there. And then hopefully be at enough life that I can actually cast a Farewell. Discontinuity might be better as a thing to cast as just Time Walk. Just get a card deeper into my deck. The Discontinuity play is better if I have a Planeswalker first, but there's a Bone Crusher and Reckless Impulse. Sure. Sacred Foundry. Okay, cool. Play that Swift Spear. It makes my Farewell better. Untapped land that doesn't hurt me would be cool. Negative. So when do I want to cast Discontinuity? Like, I can do it right now and just try to make another land drop. I think I'd rather just Farewell. Ow. Alright, goodbye all artifacts, creatures, enchantments. I am at 6. Hopefully this isn't too bad. Ren's Resolve hitting another Ren's Resolve is spooky. Okay, Chain of the Rocks is a miss. 2 Play with Fires is scary. Yeah. Alright, I eat the other one of those. I'm at 2. I'm dead to another one. Yeah, which they had. That was a very close match. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by moxfield.com, just the best place to keep your online deck lists, and the reason I say that is it just has so much functionality. So for example, let's take a look at some random legacy deck here. You can click on your various 2-drop slots and you can see what % chance you have of casting various things on curve, and you can get a breakdown of your mana symbols and all of that stuff, and there's a lot more here than just this. Consider checking it out. Alright, we're playing against another Gigantha deck. I have 2 starting mana and a Cycler. I'm just not excited about this hand though. I'm gonna mulligan. Lotus Field in my opener, 1-time dealer. Kind of feel like I get overrun for keeping this. I don't know how aggressively I am supposed to mulligan. I'm still getting a feel for that. This is turn 1 nothing, turn 2 foretell, turn 3 tap 2 mana, draw 2 cards. I don't really feel like this wins. My opponent's probably playing the deck that we just saw again. And Farewell is insane in the matchup. But I'm going to go deeper. This is the best hand I've seen so far. Turn 1 Spars Headquarters. Turn 2 foretell this. Maybe off this land. Alright, this is fine. Hallowed Fountain hurts me, that can go back. Well, one of these 2 can go back. This is good enough. Alright, yep. Same matchup as last round. Oh, hell yeah. No turn 1 play from my opponent. That is a shit ton of breathing room for me. Just leave this chilling out in exile and cast it when things start looking bad. There's the Runaway Steamkin, which we did not see last round, but can be pretty powerful. My play in this turn cycle is just going to be to copy my Spara's Headquarters to make my mana a little bit better. And hopefully my opponent just plays out a handful of creatures. And I get some value off of my board wipe. Alright, that is Gigantha to hand. That's fine. Let's improve the old mana. Fencer's cool. Let's play the backside of this. My opponent's trying to avoid playing extra cards into this. Gives me some time to develop. Yep. Soulscar Mage is fine. Like, I don't mind that at all. The counters on Runaway Steamkin are scarier than anything else. Okay, so Runaway Steamkin now gets a third counter and is a 4/4. My opponent can remove those counters for mana. They'll probably hit me for 4 first. If they even want to do it. They might not want to do it. Alright, I'm at 13. Alright, they don't want to do it, in which case I'll Memory Deluge end of turn. Doomscar is cool. Lotus Field is cool. Another Memory Deluge isn't crazy. I'm gonna pick up the Lotus Field. Awkward for me to make that as a land drop. Pick up another Doomscar. Okay, there's a land drop. If I do it untapped, I can censor. 3 life is a lot of life, though. Don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to just nuke my opponent's stuff and cycle this immediately. Cool. I'll play this as a tapped land and pass the turn. Like, I can let my opponent commit their Gigantha to the board or whatever and then do some cool stuff. All right. What are you doing? Showdown of the Skalds. Okay. I can just cast a Discontinuity to end. How does this work? Until the end of your next turn. If I end their turn, they can't play those anymore. That seems like a respectable use of my resources. Yeah, let's just play this. Alright, end the turn. Nice. I have a few copies of Lotus Field in my hand that I'm not great at deploying. 7 to get back. And I have 6. Awkward. Let's go ahead and do a Foretell here. Play a Lotus Field. We'll sacrifice 2 of my tapped lands with the intention of going and copying my Lotus Field and then trying to go nuts with Memory Deluge. I am at 13. My opponent still has 6 cards plus, like, Showdown of the Skald triggers. I can cast an Ardenvale to make a blocker if I have to. I might have to, depending on how crazy this goes. Multiple Runaway Steamkin. Got it. Hopefully mana's the bottleneck, though. Alright, there's one of them. So I can gain 4 life. Or no, I can't, right? Yeah, I'm 1 mana short, so I can't gain 4 life by blocking. Alright, I'm eating 4 then. I'm at 9. Copy Lotus Field. Let's do a Memory Deluge now and plan out this turn. Farewell is amazing. Teferi seems like the other one that I take. Needs some sort of persistent card advantage. So play this. And wipe the board. And we'll see if I survive the Runaway Steamkin turn with double Showdown of the Skald active. Cards, not mana, will be my opponent's bottleneck this time. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. I mean, I'm F6. Do your thing. It's how many reckless impulse effects does my opponent find? There's a Swift Spear and another Reckless Impulse effect, so my opponent can make 3 mana, cast Swift Spear, cast Impulse. They can actually switch to moving the counters to Swift Spear, and I might die. Yeah, this is spooky. Just hit lands. That's a Pia. That's horrifying, because that's more haste damage. So Pia comes out, puts counters on Monastery Swift Spear. Taking 6 as of right now. Opponent still has 5 cards in hand. There's a land. Another spell kills me, I believe. Rather, another non-creature spell. Chain to the rocks. Yep. So that is 10 damage and I am dead. Yeah, I wiped the board at 9 life and my opponent found 10 hasty damage. That's a little sad. I think if that farewell resolves, I'm in pretty good position. All right. So I think I said when I was on the play, I like these 5. Finale, Shark Typhoon, Behold. Maybe I shouldn't just play the sensors. Maybe I just give up on those, do this. Play a Denrick. Keep all the discontinuities as Time Walk in the mid-game. This has 2 land drops and no plan. Going to mulligan. This cannot cast any spells meaningfully. Going to mulligan. Sparrows into castle. I mean, I'm keeping 5 of these. I probably can't keep Denrick. And I think I get rid of the Wandering Emperor. Alright. I have a chance at playing a somewhat unfair game here. Like, a lot of this is just going to be, is Teferi fast enough? Like, a lot of times the answer is just no. Alright. Land drop, pass. My opponent can play. Oh, cool. That's fine. This card's horrifying. Alright. Play Lotus Field. And end the turn. This makes my Teferi cost 2 more. Okay, my opponent does have the white. That's a major pain for me. Like, my life total is better than normal here. And, like, I might just draw a board wipe or something and, like, this ends up not being a problem. Play this on the blue side. So I have 6 mana this turn. I need 1 more for Teferi. Is it better to just make a soldier rather than play out Strict Proctor? Block for 2 without using any resources. Let's say yes. Alright, that's fine. Another one of those hanging out is rough. Alright. Let's make my soldier. That's just tap a bunch of lands and gain 2 life. It's fine. It's not any better than fine, but it's fine. Aether Gust is not what I'm looking for. This time I will play out the Strict Proctor. Now that my opponent has a flyer specifically that is going to annoy me turn after turn. Alright. That's gonna snipe my Teferi and be annoying. If it grabs my Aether Gust, I can just cast it for 4. So I don't have to respond to that. Ah. Would you like to let that get countered? Alright. Alright, Teferi costs 4 more. Since my mana is so tight, I am just going to go ahead and remove this. Alright. I'm still 1 mana short of that, right? 3, 6. Costs 7. Alright. That's fine. Another invasion on the other Teferi is such a pain in the ass. Oh, my opponent can't do it because of Strict Proctor, actually. This is actually okay. Now I get a chance to top deck an untapped mana source. Let's make our critter. I am doing an okay job of finding openings that are reasonable, but I'm just whiffing on land. Okay. This will cost extra. I lose Strict Proctor. which opens up my opponent's attacks. My opponent gets the backside of this. It's a disaster for me. And now I lose the other Teferi here. I've lost the farewell. Well, I don't think that runaway steamkin should be attacking. All right, so both of those are going at one of my invasions. All right. I'll make a second human. Double block. All right. I cannot draw another land to save my life. That's very frustrating. So this is coming at me. This is going at invasion. So I'm happy with that. That means that I have successfully protected this for another turn because my opponent didn't swing at both. Showdown of the Scalds is very bad. Yeah. Those are good cards. Please just play the Pia and let me punish by drawing an untapped land and just playing Doomscar. Let me do it. Not quite it. But it's a castable card. Maybe even a good card. We'll see. I can definitely just die from 13. Yep. We'll see if I'm dead. Soul Scour Mage happens again, giving another Thopter and another +1/+1 counter. Okay, cool. Alright, my opponent cast a Soul Scour Mage as well. I haven't mathed this out, but I imagine that I'm dead. Yep. That's a really frustrating loss, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was just one land away from turning this game around just every turn of the game from like turn 4 on. Would have drawn another Dramoka into Thespian Stage. I don't think I would have. Well, I mean, it depends. Alright, this has mana trouble and doesn't really do anything. Thank you, deck. Very cool. Wow. Do I go to 4? I don't think I go to 4. This is just legitimately awful. And I've gotten paired against another aggro deck. So I'm going to just die for having tapped land drops and such. Alright. At least they played Dauntless Bodyguard on turn 1, so it can't give something indestructible in a meaningful way. Okay. Honestly, this could have been a lot worse. Should I just play Strict Proctor rather than suspend this? Sure. Just stall out both of these from attacking. Force my opponent to commit more stuff to the board. That's fine. Adeline's very good. So I block this one. I take one, but like you replaced a better body with a worse body in a lot of cases there. So I will foretell, and then let's get this tapped land out of the way. How bad is this? Could be worse, I think, is my evaluation of the situation. Like I can absorb. Actually, am I always casting Doomscour to just clear Adeline in the tokens? I think I am. Let's just absorb the highest amount of damage. Yeah, 13. There's a Teferi. Adeline just does enough work that I need to clear that body. And then we'll do a tapped Hollowed Fountain. And I'm feeling my mulligan. I need another land drop to kind of feel safe about life right now. Taking 2 from Utavault is whatever. Very surprised my opponent kept their hand if, like, this is what they've got. This will be Hold Up the Wandering Emperor. And probably get rid of the Mutavault if I'm given the opportunity to. Yep. Alright. Sure. I'm going to cast this. I don't know what removal my opponent's deck has. I'm going to try to just make a Samurai. And trade with Mutavault. And leave this around for the future. Alright, I am at 9. Play Teferi, start drawing cards, untap some lands. Force my opponent to commit more stuff to the board, board wipe. Sounds cool. Yeah. I also could Teferi minus on this and just get it out of the way. I don't like that. Nice. I could do this one, though. I don't hate this one, actually. Just using my Teferi to spiral the game out of control on the empty board. I think that's better than making the Samurai. Not open myself up to random removal. Is my opponent just super flooded? Protection from multicolored? Sure. There's a Lotus Field. Not quite set up to take full advantage of that yet. Actually, do I just plus with Teferi first? I think I just plus with Teferi first. Seagate Restoration. Let's Memory Deluge. Take Farewell and Discontinuity. Make Lotus Field as my land drop. Sacrificing 2 lands. Yeah. You can have your human token. I'll untap 2 of these. I've got 5 mana. Can't really meaningfully use that yet. At least not at instant speed. Next turn I just have Discontinuity as time walk while I continue to tick Teferi up and draw cards. Teferi can lose some loyalty. That's not that big of a deal. Alright, cool. I have 2 time walks. 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's play this one tapped. And just be good with that. Yeah. You can have your human. That's fine. I'll untap my land. In your upkeep. I'll end the turn. And it's my turn again. Nice to be my turn. Okay, my opponent's done with me, which is fair. This game was very over. Like, I was going to time walk yet again, and at some point I board wipe them. So I think I've got 4 cards to consider here. I basically boarded out this card in every round that I've ever played. I'm on the draw. Censor isn't all that great. I also don't think Shark Typhoon is that great. This is 59. I'll keep one of these, assuming that I'm treating it as a cycler more than anything else. I have a medium hand here. I have turn 2 Denric to buy time to just like legit be a blocker. And then I have Lotus Field Discontinuity. Not super happy with that draw. Like I am looking to draw basically any non-land card. I just need something to serve as Lotus Field payoff for a little bit down the line. Sure. That's annoying. That's going to throw me off curve. One also might get a Planeswalker. So let's Denric. I guess Thalia is symmetrical. That makes it a little bit less likely that my opponent's going to get to do this and also remove my Denric. Yes. Okay. All right. That makes more sense. So I can trade Denric with Kithian. No hidden first strike. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna take that as a 2 mana removal spell, gain some life. I think the Thalia beats me a lot of the time here because I don't get to Lotus Field and then do cute things afterwards. Disturb on this is 4. Let's cycle this and try to figure out what my plan is. The plan: play Lotus Field and get lucky? Or is the plan like just draw Strict Proctor? I'm so likely on a 2-turn clock. I'm gonna try to draw Strict Proctor next turn. Just will it to the top of my deck. Yeah. Rough. Yeah, so Thalia is protected now. I take 8 this turn. I don't know that I have outs. Alright, I'm at 9. Thalia is indestructible, backed by Mutavault. I'm forced off curve by Thalia. Yeah, that Thalia won them this game. It's not over if they don't have the Thalia. Like, it is still a fight. But I have a much better chance at winning if they don't have the Thalia. I could play more copies of Censor when I am on the play. I think I should have swapped Behold the Multiverse for another sensor. This has no blue mana. Doomscar is incredibly good, but this hand is quite awkward. This hand just dies. I don't have combo potential. I don't have any interaction. I can't keep this. This is the best hand that I've seen. Throw back this, and I throw back one of Teferi or Doomscar. I'll throw back Doomscar. I have more board wipes than I do Teferi's. I don't know, maybe I just always need a board wipe to win. We'll tap Hallowed Fountain and pass. And then on turn 2, I'll have to decide whether or not I want to play out Strict Proctor. Depends on how aggressive my opponent's turn 1 play is. So if I'm willing to expose Strict Proctor to removal, I can always block that. I think the Suspend is just better this turn, though. I think I just lose if I don't get a chance to put Lotus Field into play. Alright, Foretold. Alright, there's a Thalia. My opponent hits me for 1, which is no big deal. And I get way ahead on mana. I will have to rely, nice, on the top of the deck to actually provide me with a reasonable spell. And it has seen fit to do so, luckily. Alright, so I'm up to 5 mana, 6 mana on my turn, which means that I can cast either one of these big spells around my opponent's Thalia attacks, which is a huge deal. Yeah. I don't know this one. Just taps creatures, sure. This is a land drop for me. So I have 6 mana. I need 7 to Discontinuity as Time Walk. Let's bash in. Opponent goes to 19. And I will take that. Strict Proctor has already done its job. I've gotten my value out of that card. Oh, no play from my opponent. That's not good. This will be tapped. I am probably not going to Discontinuity my opponent here. I'm probably going to play my Wandering Emperor and then get extra activations out of it with Discontinuity. I could take it right here as a counterspell, but I don't feel like I need to. So Wandering Emperor, make a Samurai. Hallowed Fountain is pretty mid. I think I just create a second body. Hit you for 2. Put you to 17. Minus for another Samurai. Play a tapped Hallowed Fountain, pass the turn, and then I'll cast Time Walk. Like, this is just perfectly fine. Go ahead and plus on one of these. Go ahead and attack in with both of my creatures. I think since my opponent's mana is so tight, I just keep Censor as a card and don't cycle it. Like, I can just Censor while making a human token. Yeah, this is why we held that. Go ahead and counter that. And at this point, I'll probably just beat my opponent with the combat step off a single Wandering Emperor. Critter. Another Lotus Field's kind of whatever. We'll go ahead and just spread out the love here. Ship on in with everybody. Opponent's at 5 when all that resolves. Then I guess I play another one of these. Just setting up more for later. Nice to have both in play if I Teferi. What does this do? Exile target creature or planeswalker until it leaves the battlefield. Yeah, that's fine. Like, that's your turn. You're being attacked for 7. You have a 2/1 in play. Sorry, you're being attacked for 8. I'll make another. Oh, they're going for one of the tokens. Sure. I'll make another human end of turn. My opponent is being attacked for lethal. If I put a counter here, is one of them first strike. That's fine. More than anything, I just want to spread all this out. All right, they're fully on absorbing damage. And they'll end up at 2. I'll play a tapped land and call it. My opponent's still playing Magic the Gathering, but not sure that I understand why. Like, I don't know what out they are playing towards. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. GG's. All right, I have kept my opening hand here. I have what I imagine is a very strong hand. All right, we're playing against, I presume, the mono green deck, which I think shouldn't be running removal, meaning just playing Strict Proctor this turn is fine, I think. Do that off Thespian stage, I'm not 100% sure. All right, that's just a +1 for mana, right? Yeah. Discontinuity is cool. So let's play our land. We get to keep it. I will foretell this to make that a little easier to cast in the future, and I'll crash on in. Are the Cavaliers on cast or ETB? I think they're ETB, which means this is actively good. There's a troll. Do I take a time walk now? Just attack for 1, time walk. Or do I put Teferi into play? You can put Teferi into play, get the old growth troll out of play, and then discontinuity the following turn. I like it. Goodbye, troll. Make a tapped land drop. Crash in for 1. That's pretty reasonable. I also think I'm going to have a nice Lotus Field line of copy Lotus Field with Thespian stage, untap both Lotus Fields, and then discontinuity for 2 lands. There's a Karn. There a Pithing Needle for Teferi? There's a Pithing Needle for Teferi. That's inconvenient. Yeah. Well, I got a couple of time walks to punch Karn in the face, so maybe not the end of the world. All right. Attack Karn for 1. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I don't have the 8 that I need to do cool things. All right, my turn. All right, cool. I really wanted to hit a land drop to more effectively do 2 things at the same time. But that's okay. I'm going to just take another chance. My turn. All right, cool. So I'll attack and kill Karn. Now let's figure out the rest of my life. Maybe not that land, actually. Maybe this one instead. Dream Trawler. I want to tap out for that. I don't think I want this one. I could Otawara the Pithing Needle out of play. Plus Teferi. Memory Deluge. Nah. The Dream Trawler is just really awkward because I'm going to want to cast this in the next turn or two. I'm going to bottom that. Farewell. Yes. Yes, I would like to cast that. That's just much better than what I was hoping for. Artifacts, creatures, enchantments, I guess graveyards. Plus Teferi, untap, Lotus Field, and Thespian stage. All right, your Karn resolves. Let's see what we're going to have to play around. Whatever it is, I can Memory Deluge to plan for it. And I do have Otawara to bounce most things. Treasure Vault? Oh, it's just an artifact land, just so they can make their land drop. Okay. Do I just want to copy Lotus Field right now? I just want to copy Lotus Field right now. Just have 2 of those for the future. Plus, let's plan out the rest of this turn. Take a Wandering Emperor. My opponent's mana might be tight enough that Censor does something. Gotta grab that. I don't know, I can just play Strict Proctor and have something on board that kills the Karn. Alright. Yeah. I will Strict Proctor. I will foretell one of these. I've activated this. I'll untap 2 copies of Lotus Field. Got flashback on this. I've got Wandering Emperor. I've got to activate this. Yep. Damping Sphere. That's no fun. That's fine. That's also fine. Ah, fuck, I was supposed to float mana. I had a plan in my head there. Oh, that's a weird interface. Okay. Got it. Minus, make a critter. handful of different ways that I can play this. I'd like to get this out of the way. I think I just Teferi bounce that out of the way and play a new one. All right. Teferi plus draw a card. It's a new Lotus Field. We'll happily play that. Not pay for Strict Proctor, obviously. Or actually, this costs way less than I think it does. Just get that troll out of the way. Plus on this creature. Attack Karn. Attack your face. Karn's dead. You're at 15. I'll untap 2 copies of Lotus Field. I have 2 active Planeswalkers plus Memory Deluge plus a board wipe if I need it. 6 mana or Storm. I guess I should Memory Deluge in response to that. Discontinuity is great. And then I'll just pick up another Memory Deluge. All right, your Storm resolves. Damping Sphere is back. And so is Kiora. Doesn't seem like a real problem. Minus Teferi. Get that Damping Sphere out of here, and then I do stupid stuff. Cast a Memory Deluge. I will grab a Farewell and a Strict Proctor. Do a Stage. Cast a Strict Proctor. Minus this creature. Go to combat. Attack you. Put you to 11. Pass the turn. Upkeep. I guess I can copy one of these first. Like so. End the turn. Alright, my opponent is done with me. GG. I spent a lot of clock though. This configuration right here is what the sideboard guide suggests. This feels like going extremely win condition light to me. Like, I think I'd rather get rid of this and keep one more win condition. Yeah, I'm going to keep one more Wandering Emperor here. It says no mana. I'm going to mulligan this one. This is a pretty medium looking hand. I have a piece of early interaction, so it's probably okay. Gonna dump Farewell. I'm just not there yet. Sure. I don't want extra copies of Discontinuity at this point in the game. I wanted to keep the original because like it allows me to go nuts with Lotus Field if things go well. All right, sure. Yep. Uh-huh. I think I use Aether Gust on whatever my opponent casts rather than on one of these dorks. It's just like really awkward if they cast something like Karn that ignores Aether Gust. Yeah. We're gonna go ahead and say no to that one. I have to deal with it again next turn, which probably isn't happening. Sure. They just got rid of their Storm? That feels wrong. I want the blue side of this. All right. That occurs. We will say no to Karn. I need to hit this next land drop incredibly badly. Nope. Dead. I'm just going to get 3-turn clocked for missing that land drop. Yep. How bad is it? The Stone Brain. Sure. I'm going to let my opponent resolve that, mostly to see what they name. Lotus Field. Okay. Good to know. I think with active Karn, this much devotion and old, like, multiple bodies plus Planeswalker in play and Lotus Field gone, that I'm more or less ready to concede. I guess I could hit exactly perfects and still be alive. All right. So, pay the life. I cast this. I think I have to work towards Farewell. So I've already made my land drop. I can't farewell next turn. I am dead in 2 turns. I'm comfortable conceding here and saving my clock for the next game. So when I'm on the play, do I want to play Doomscar and kind of ignore what the sideboard guide said? Like, this is a way to get rid of the mana dorks in the early game that accelerate my opponent out. I don't think it's good on the draw. On the play, I think it's reasonable. Narcissus Reversal misses a lot of stuff. I think it's real cool versus Storm the Festival, I guess. I think I am going to ignore the sideboard guide and play my Doomscars on the play. Maybe I don't need all of them. Yeah. This has early interaction, but I just miss land drops incredibly quickly. Don't think this is capable. All right, so do I keep the Lotus Field with this hand? I think the answer is no. I'm not super happy with this hand, because a lot of times, like, my opponent just plays turn 1 Matador, turn 2 Old Growth Troll or something, and just, like, dodges my Dovin's Veto. Ah! Alright. Alright, am I trading for mana ramp? I think I am, since I have 2. I don't know that I trade the second one for mana ramp, but I need to buy some time to hit my 4th land drop to do this. Like, if I can do this and exile Elvish Mystic, for example, after my opponent taps out for a Karn, like, that would be cool. Alright. Let's say no to that. And let's get lucky, hit our land drop, and get to exile this Mystic. Negative. I have had one too many games where I have just lost fully on not being able to hit basic land drops. I don't think I Aether Gust one of those. This is a counter spell for a big green thing. Yep. Get out of the way. Gonna happen next turn. And life's bad when that happens. Okay, cool. So I want blue side here. Play Wandering Emperor. And attempt to keep my opponent from casting the Storm the Festival for another turn. Like, I'm fine throwing away Wandering Emperor to do that. Like, my opponent can attack with Elvish Mystic, and that's okay. Ooh. Don't like that. So let's make a plan. Farewell is the plan. And I'll just play Hallowed Fountain this turn. And guarantee that I have it next turn. And hopefully the Storm the Festival doesn't result in my opponent getting an obscene amount of value. Like, I just want, like, two regular old creatures or something. Oh. That's fine. This is going to be such a good farewell. Like, I eat some damage this turn, just unquestionably. I go to 14, but then I get to nuke the graveyards on the way out. Nuking the graveyards is a little awkward. Do I do that? I could also just start casting Discontinuity. I'm gonna nuke everything. All right, everything's nuked. They had another one. I don't know this one. 4/5. Whenever it or another non-token Hydra you control dies. You know what? Let's not even read the rest of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a land. Actually, this is activate only as a sorcery, so I can time walk here without it being a problem. All right, let's just end the turn. Really wanted to get more land. Probably just have to kill both of those, right? I'm actually going to Discontinuity again. Let's just take that redraw. All right, so I will Doomscar, and we'll get rid of that. The Troll's a little annoying. I have Dovin's Veto for one of the worst things that can happen. Thought my opponent was going to make a thing immediately. Oh, that's fine. I don't know, maybe since Dovin's Veto doesn't hit creatures, I'm supposed to just counter it. And I will take that out. I don't know that that's a primo target, but I'm going to take it. They're just making a land drop. Okay. They get a land. They milled over Storm the Festival. All right. 7 here, awkwardly. Let's Memory Deluge. Taking 2 land drops. All right. Tapped Hallowed Fountain, pass the turn. We'll see how crazy my opponent's turn gets. I'm hoping I can just cast this and get back a lot of advantage. I'm going to just F6 their turn. All right, there's the Storm. They just got mana. I mean, I guess that's another Storm, but that's actively good for me, right? Like, I want them to cast that and just hopefully nuke everything. Something like Karn or Kiora plus something else that draws them some cards is where it gets awkward. Yes, this is fine. All right, I'll take my 5. All right, bam. Nuke it all. My opponent can put something back on top with Cavalier. Just showing up on my second monitor when I zoom in on it, which is a neat feature. All right, they're going for Kiora. Kind of hard pressed to really take advantage of this Memory Deluge well without ever having found a Lotus Field. I have made my land drops the hard way. All right, there's an untap. How bad is it? All right, opponent found the Stone Brain. See what I'm losing. They might just name my Memory Deluge since it's in graveyard already. They've named my Teferis, which is reasonable. I can cast this. I think Memory Deluge is better. Let's figure out what my life plan is. Not great things. I think I'm taking 2 pieces of interaction here. Don't think I play that as a land. Yep. Whatever this is, it's eating Dovin's Veto in all likelihood. Pestilent Cauldron. That one can like randomly go infinite, right? All right. Let's counter that. Not going to use the brain power to try to remember how this works, but I think that card goes infinite somehow with Karn. Okay, sure. All right. Let's draw some cards and find a way to do cool things. I can play Lotus Field and end my turn or play Strict Proctor. The way that I'm winning is Shark Typhoon and then nonsense. Okay. Figured it out. I have a path forward. I'd kind of like my opponent to brick for a turn. That would be a huge boon for me. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 mana if I need it. So it's Shark Typhoon, cast Discontinuity. Okay, like I have a very real plan. There's a Karn. Something weird just happened. All right. So if that Stone Brain hits Discontinuity or Shark Typhoon, I think I lose. Otherwise, I think I win. Fuck. It's a 1-of in my deck, too. They didn't see last time. Right? Well, I guess they would have searched the deck and would have seen it in there, but it wasn't in my hand. That's frustrating. All right. What's a new way I win? Add Strict Proctor beats. Play this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do this tapped. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 floating. Not enough to do other things. All right. Attack Karn. Karn goes to 2. Take an extra turn. That allows me to attack and kill Karn. That's a start. Let's cast this. I don't think I'm winning without these stupid Strict Proctors. So let's cast another one. I don't have time to math out my mana to see if I can foretell Doomscar and still make soldiers. All right. Soldier. Cycle you. Land drop. Let's attack and attempt to kill the Kiora. My opponent can keep the Kiora alive for 1 turn if they want. Yeah, that's fine. It is green, so it's gone. I'm gonna get a little sloppy with phases here. And we're gonna do some scrying and soldier making. We're bottoming most cards that aren't named Discontinuity. I'm gonna play that. Kiora. You. Alright. I think I've got a win here, but I think I time out doing it. Yeah, like those are good cards. Like Memory Deluge into more Strict Proctors is great, but I just don't have the raw time that I need to get through here. I am going to concede here with 30 seconds left on the clock. I just can't get through. I think I probably win that one with a little more time. So like I draw Memory Deluge, I cast it, get into another Memory Deluge, a Hall of Storm Giants. I flash back, I get Discontinuity. Yeah, I think I win that one if not for clock. But that's on pilot unfamiliarity with the matchup. All right. I kind of have 3 lands. I'm on the draw. I think I'm just going to ship this one and try to find a more powerful Lotus Field hand. This is not a more powerful Lotus Field hand, but at least it has Lotus Field. I have a Foretell card that can be a turn 3 board wipe. This is fine. Pitch the Dream Trawler. Maybe Rakdos or Burn. Alright. Finale of Revelation. This hand's incredibly awkward. Like, I can play this and cycle Censor, but then I'm not working towards white towards this. I think I'm going to play Thespian Stage this turn and pass. And just keep my options open with this land drop. Alright. Is this just a different flavor of the Pia deck? No. Oh, this is probably the Convoke deck. Okay. So I'm going to play this. And foretell this card. And hopefully we draw an untapped white source to use this. If we don't, I cry. Yep. So far it feels like we're playing against a Pauper deck with better mana, but that's going to end real quickly when something like this happens. So my opponent looks at the top 6 cards of the library, could reveal 2 cards with mana value X or less, where X is the number of creatures that convoked this, so 3 or less here. Giant Killer and Thraben Inspector. And I've drawn a card that punishes me for playing the white side of this. And I have no plays accordingly. I think I have to play the white side to work towards doing this, but that's very frustrating. I mean, my board wipe will be absolutely stellar if I get to do it. But I might just stumble and die. Okay, cool. Go to 9. Take the Doomscar. Yeah, you can draw a card. That's fine. Now I've taken the pressure off myself, and I can Discontinuity, Lotus Field, and then follow it up with Farewell to clear out all the artifacts. Oh, there's even Ornithopters in here. Giant Killer's fine. This is +1/+1 counters, right? Yeah. So 4, 5, 6, 7 total damage incoming. Not technically dead, but could die to Den of the Bugbear activation. I don't think there's much I can do about that. Lotus Field. Discontinuity. And see if I'm dead. If I'm not dead, I cast Farewell, and maybe I find a way to beat Den of the Bugbear, but get bushwhackled. Yeah, missing that land drop killed me. I think I'm fine otherwise. Like, the Den of the Bugbears long-term are a problem. Alright, Censors and Finale are coming out. These 5 cards are coming in. And I guess I'll think about the just generic Lifelinker as well. I'm pretty comfortable probably cutting one of Shark Typhoon or Behold the Multiverse. Shark Typhoon's not super necessary with 2 Dragon Lords coming in. And then, like, do I just want a generic 2/3 Lifelinker that I will almost certainly wrap up in one of my own board wipes later? I think on the play, no. How is this? This has 4 lands, kind of. I'm not doing anything at all unfair. I think I ship this and keep a similar power 6 0% of the time because this deck's mana base hates me. God damn it. This is the 5. Alright. Like, Doomscar is good and all, but the Lotus Field without support is pretty rough. Farewell is not what I am looking for. This needs to be on the white side so that I do have white for this. I will need to hit a 3rd land drop for it, or I don't know that I can just sacrifice my 2 lands to Lotus Field here. Feels pretty brutal. Yeah. I've lost Farewell. And my Doomscar isn't even that good of a play right now with my opponent having 1 creature on board. So, am I junking my lands? Or am I trying to get lucky? 3 mana next turn means that 100% of the time I can cast Farewell, but I think I'm going to try to get lucky here. I've already mulliganed twice, and I'm down a lot of resources. Whenever you cast your 2nd spell each turn, make a spirit. Sure. Am I getting attacked? Or is the thingy? I'm getting attacked. Alright, I'm at 18. Am I taking my 2 for 1 and clearing the board so that this doesn't flip? I think it's game over if that thing flips and my future board wipes aren't good. Alright. Goodbye. My opponent still gets a blood token out of the Epicure for later. Oh, no play. Sick. You're telling me there's a chance. If I sacrifice these 2 lands, I have 4 mana next turn, and I can start casting these cards. I think I have to take that this time. Alright. Sure don't love it. Opponent not using their blood token, despite not having any meaningful plays. Destroy target artifact. Okay, got it. I see. Hate this. I can flash in Wandering Emperor and start making Samurai. This turn into an artifact? Enchantment. Okay, so that can eat Farewell when I am on 8 mana. Maybe the play is just Thespian Stage, copy this, and try to Farewell. That's what I'm going to do. Any untapped land does it. Sure. Why are we doing that at sorcery speed? Oh, do you have a convoke thing? You do have a convoke thing. Is that better than attacking and flipping this? I guess maybe you can see this coming. Another one and a Thraben Inspector. Got it. All right. Copy Lotus Field. 7 mana available. Well, I won't say that I quite got lucky, but we're good with that. All artifacts, all creatures, all enchantments. I have no reason not to exile my graveyard. I don't think you use your graveyard either, but get out. Kind of wish this was off the table. Like, I'll wrap it up in the 2nd Farewell at some point. Spectre's fine. Alright, they've got another one. Still have 6 cards in hand despite playing a ton of 1-drops. Interesting. So, am I in a setup turn? My memory deluging? I'm trying. If I memory deluge and hit an untapped land drop, I can also play Wandering Emperor. Okay. So, untapped land drop, bonus card. Untapped land drop, pass. Me, invasion. This is exile. So I want this to flip. Me, invasion. Me. Okay. So I will Wandering Emperor. Minus make a Samurai. Block this. You get the backside of the invasion. which is fine. It's an enchantment. And I have the 8 mana I need to deal with that. Am I doing this now? Like, my opponent has 3 2/2s. Can I play a Teferi? I can maybe get a Teferi going here. This might be greedy. Bushwhacker's a thing. I think I'm fine. Although I should have attacked first before doing this. Alright. Alright, opponent takes 2. I'll Teferi with 1 floating. Plus Teferi. I made a land drop. Not made a land drop. I'm fine with this being a land drop. Yeah. Do I Strict Proctor? No, probably not. Ooh, my opponent's got something else. Oh, right, you have Flash. Okay. Untap my copies of Lotus Field. And we'll see where this goes. That's fine. Kills my Wandering Emperor, but I was about to play a second one anyway a good portion of the time. That is a Bushwhacker. That's happening. But I'll just absorb as much damage as I can and then cast Farewell. If I can keep the Teferi alive, that's preferable. Oh, sorry, this is 1 damage to each opponent. I still have my Wandering Emperor. Teferi, Teferi, Teferi. Wandering Emperor. Wandering Emperor. Wandering Emperor. Teferi? Teferi, Teferi, Teferi. Teferi. Yeah, I can keep Teferi alive. So I will Wandering Emperor. Keep this one. Minus 1 of these tokens. Block 2 creatures going at Teferi. And then I'll cast a Farewell on my turn. I have 2 Planeswalkers. Yep. Enjoy your Indestructible and Hexproof. Guess I Teferi plus first. Discontinuity. Yes. Alright, this costs 8. That's fine, I've got that. Exile all artifacts, all creatures, all enchantments. I'll keep graveyards. Yeah. Cool. Make a land drop. I guess I'll plus this. Strict Proctor is fine to play. I'm going to cast Discontinuity for 2 mana and end my opponent's turn. Or sorry, for 2 lands, rather. Alright, Discontinuity. And my opponent is done with me, and I have to win another game still. Okay, I don't think I am going to change anything here. I'm going to whack the submit button. The lifelinkers are okay. I don't think they're any better than okay, though. Like, I've already boarded out the sensors, which is something that I usually do when I'm on the draw. This hand's kind of fine. I need the second white for Doomscar. I'm going to keep it, because it can potentially do the Lotus Field thing. Ooh, no turn 1 creature. That's interesting. I guess my opponent kept on 6. Hopefully we can take advantage of their hand being suboptimal. There's an Ornithopter. And they're just going to blow it up for a couple of 1/1s. That's fine. Don't know what that shock means. I mean, I have 0 agency in this game as of right now. Like, 100% of the time, I just have to foretell this card and hope that I draw a white source to cast it if I need to. Otherwise, I will just Lotus Field, Discontinuity, and hope that I can do cool stuff from there. I just eat so much damage to a Goblin Bushwhacker. It is an invasion. Okay, I kind of thought it was going to be that. Lotus Field is now much harder to do. And my opponent just gets to instantly flip that. Huh? What just happened? So you may cast it transformed is the MTGO text. So that's what's happened. I don't have white, white, white for Doomscar. The only way that I play a 4-drop next turn 100% of the time is by just playing Lotus Field and sacrificing my 2 lands, which is super awkward because then I don't have Aether Gust up. I think I'm going to try to hold out. And just play the Aether Gust fairly. Like, my opponent did a pretty big punt. I hope that I can take advantage of that. Okay, cool. But, you know, sometimes they just die. All right, they're chilling. Get no use out of my Aether Gust in this turn cycle. Put in the same position again. Alright, I'm going to do a very sad play here of just kill a token with this mana while I have it, and then commit to a Lotus Field. Alright, this gives me a Wandering Emperor next turn, or maybe even just play another Lotus Field in Discontinuity if my opponent doesn't play more threats. Alright, Convoke Nonsense is happening. Alright, sure. Clarion Spirit, Resolute Reinforcements, got it. So, I can have 5 mana this turn. Play Teferi, untap Lotus Field, Hollowed Fountain, have Wandering Emperor as well. Wandering Emperor exiles this. I keep this around. Teferi survives most of the time. I think I'm in for that. I don't know how greedy this is, but I think I like doing it. Alright, drew new Teferi. Untap 2. Yep. Teferi, Teferi, Teferi. So let's wander. Do I minus 2? I don't know if I have to play around with some random lightning strike nonsense. I don't know the format well enough. My opponent played this pre-combat, which makes me think they have something tricksy. I am going to just exile this and take the life and never get blown out by a removal spell. Teferi can take 2 there. Okay, at sorcery speed, which plays into this. So, Teferi plus 3, Doomscar, and a plus this with no targets. This is 8 to cast. I'm going to do just tapped Hollowed Fountain and call that good enough. Untap 2 of these with the intention of Memory Deluge. Looking for some sort of interaction. That's fine. I'll probably respond to a red spell though, because I could find an Aether Gust and counter that. Sure. Alright, so let's respond with Memory Deluge. We'll find a new Memory Deluge and a Dream Trawler. Then that can resolve. Take your +1/+1 counter. Thespian Sage is cool. I don't care about my Wandering Emperor anymore. Like, am I just exiling this? Keep the board closer to clear. Figure it out later. That's just a naturally drawn Discontinuity. Alright, that changes things a lot. I'm just going to regular old plus this. Get this loyalty higher. Thespian Stage. Target and copy Lotus Field with 4 mana remaining. Cast Memory Deluge. Grab Aether Gust, a new Wandering Emperor. I've activated both of these. Untap 2 copies of Lotus Field. Discontinuity, take an extra turn. Nice. My opponent's creatures are notably not untapped anymore for the purposes of Wandering Emperor. So that's a thing. Go ahead and plus the plains 3, 6, 7, 8. I have an extra mana to work with here. I think I'm just going to cycle this. Yeah. Oh, God, that's 3 to cycle. Huh. Never mind, we'll play that. Yeah. This time I guess I'll make one of these. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do a Dream Trawler. Honestly, I probably should have just put a +1/+1 counter on that. Yeah, I should have put a +1/+1 counter on that. Yeah, you can draw your card. Alright, untap 2 of those. Cast the increased cost Discontinuity, and my opponent's done with me. Alright, we put up a 2-3 finish in this league that was hard fought. Alright, so how do I feel at the end of playing 2 leagues in a row with this deck? Absolutely exhausted. This deck isn't for me. I feel very comfortable in saying that. I feel like it trips over itself a lot in early turns, and that just like maybe multicolored decks in this format. Like it's really cool when it starts taking off and like I'm seeing better and better lines as I play this deck more. But I don't know. Like realistically, your curve starts at 4. And I don't like that, especially when a lot of times something like casting the like foretold Doomscar on curve is very, very hard. I don't really think this deck is bad and probably scales up more as you get more experience playing it. But I feel like I had to mulligan an absolutely insane number of hands while playing this deck because the mana didn't work right or I had no real plan. And so this one ultimately I think gets a thumbs down from me. Let me know in the comments below what you think. I am going to go find some caffeine so that I can survive the rest of the day. Remember, if you end up needing any paper magic cards, check out Cool Stuff Inc. and use promo code ThrabenU to save 5% on your order. Oh, see ya.